Hello, my name is Briley Holbeck. Today is Thursday, May 3rd, and I am at Harrisburg District Library in Harrisburg, Illinois. As part of the Illinois State Library Project Next Generation Project, we are interviewing Jim Fowler for the Veterans History Project. Thank you for letting us interview you today, Jim. When were you born?
June 11th, 1934.
Who were your parents?
Pardon?
Who were your parents?
My dad's name was Terry and my mother's name was Helen.
What were their occupations?
My dad was a coal miner and my mother was just a housewife.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I had two brothers and a sister.
Did you get any big fights with them? Did you get in any big fights with them?
Not more than once a day.
So what were their names?
My brother next to me was Jack, and Jack was a Navy veteran too when he died. My other brother was Melvin Fowler. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. And then my sister was a nurse.
Okay. Did you attend any colleges?
I went to Southern for a while and I got tired of it and quit that and joined the Navy.
Okay, so when did you go into the military?
I went in 1953 to 1957, 4 years.
Okay. Was it your choice to go into it, or did your parents want you to go?
Well, it was my choice. They weren't crazy about me doing it, but it was my choice. Yeah.
What or who did you leave behind? Like a family, child, pet?
What did I leave behind?
Yeah.
Other than my family?
Uh-huh.
Well, I had a dog, Skippy.
Dog?
Yeah.
All right. Do you wish you would have chosen something different than the Navy?
That I had what?
Do you wish that you had done something different than the Navy?
Well, there were times while I was in there I would wish I was doing something different, but it was an experience. It was a life-changing experience. Yeah, very much so.
Okay. What type of basic training or schooling did you have? What type of basic training or schooling did you have?
Well, I had to go through boot camp like all sailors do, or even in the Army they have a boot camp too, in Bainbridge, Maryland. I was a young man, born and raised in Galatia, right across town, county here, and I'd never been anywhere like that before in my life, so it was quite an experience.
Okay. Do you remember, what is your most vivid memory of your time training or in school?
Well, you can't spend 4 years in any branch of the service without having a lot of vivid memories. But the thing I enjoyed most was meeting new people. We had a lot of different upbringings during our boot camp. And it was a pleasant experience.
Okay. What was the best part of it?
Graduating from boot camp, I had never been on an airplane before. They put me on an airplane along with a bunch of other guys out in Bainbridge, Maryland, and flew us to Chicago, to the big airport up there. And that was quite an experience.
What was the worst part about it?
The worst part of it?
Yeah.
Well, any branch you go in's got some worst parts of it, but I think the worst part of the whole thing was just being away from family, my family.
Yeah. Does any particular instructor stand out in your mind?
Yeah, there's a lot of memories from my 4 years in the Navy that stands out in my mind, but again, I would today I wouldn't want to do it again because the Navy has changed so much. But I enjoyed it.
Okay. What was your first assignment after basic training?
My first what?
Assignment.
Well, when I got out of there and went to Naval Great Lakes in Chicago, they sent us to electrician school. They made an electrician out of me, and that was quite an experience there. All new.
Okay. Did you receive any specialized training?
And I went 4 years of specialized training.
All right. Did you qualify with any equipment, as in vehicles, aircrafts, radios, weapons, or etc.?
Well, weapons, we had rifle training, pistol training, and all of that. They were just part of military as training.
All right. What was the hardest part of training?
Well, for me, the hardest part of it all was what we call a midnight watch. You had to go on duty at 12 o'clock midnight, and you're on there for 4 hours, and that was tough.
Did you receive any promotions?
I went in as a seaman, first class. And when I got out of boot camp and went to Chicago to training up there, I came out as a seaman, and I remained at that until, I'm not sure what date it was, but I was promoted to electrician, made third class.
Okay, what was the hardest part of the military lifestyle for you to adapt to?
Just adapting to military life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the easiest part of the military lifestyle for you to adapt to?
Well, I was on 3 different ships in the Navy, and we didn't make any worldwide tours or cruises, but we made a lot of little ones. Went down to Cuba and down into the Mediterranean, and then that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
All right. So, just said that. So now my friend Ansley is going to give you the second part of the interview.
Okay.
My name is Ansley Plumley, and I will be conducting the second part of the interview with Jim. Where did you serve?
When?
Where?
Mostly what they call stateside. I was stationed out of Norfolk, Virginia. That's where the whole Atlantic Naval Base is located there. And I was in the amphibious fleet. And that was at Little Creek, Virginia.
What are your recollections of that experience?
A lot of my experiences was connected to just being in the Navy on the different ships, meeting the different people, exchanging views with people with different upbringings. It was an interesting experience. Yeah.
Were you in a combat support, or a combat service support role?
No, I was never in combat itself.
What kinds of friendships and, I don't know how to pronounce that. Camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
I formed and created a lot of camaraderie with a lot of different people, and that, even though it's been 50 years ago, I still have friendships with some of those people today.
How did you stay in touch with family and friends?
My family? Well, we were allowed to take what they call military leave. You get like a vacation. I would come home for that. When I was on board ship, I would contact with them. We didn't have cell phones then like everybody's got today. but I corresponded with my family with letter writing.
What did you do what did you do for recreation or when you were off duty?
Well, we played basketball, we went bowling, done a lot of swimming.
Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events?
Had a lot of them. Had a lot of them.
Was there something you did for good luck? Was there something you did for good luck?
I think so.
What was the best part of your service experience?
Well, as I look back on it now, the best part of it was when I got notified that I was going home and I was getting discharged. I was out of the Navy. That was all behind me.
Do you recall the day the service ended? Where were you when your service ended?
Where was I? I'm going to have to think back on that one. I know now. A sailor's dream is to make a Mediterranean cruise, way out in the Mediterranean. I never did get to make one of that. About a week before I got discharged to come home for good, I was told that if you want to re-up and you sign up for 4 more years, you can make a Mediterranean cruise with it, going to way out in the Mediterranean, all those states, built. Anyway, I had this about 2 or 3 months prior to that, become married to a girl back home here. I'm still married to her, 62 years later. And I told my lieutenant commander, he was next in line to the captain, that I can't, because I want to go home from being an ex-veteran for a while, and that was exciting to me. So that's when I got out and came back home, back to Saline County, and I've been here ever since.
How were you received by your family and community?
How was I what?
Received by your family and community.
I still didn't hear you on. I don't hear too well anymore.
How were you received by your family and community?
Received with open arms.
How did you readjust to civilian life? Did you work or go back to school?
When I got out of the Navy, June of 1957, about 3 weeks after that, I had already applied for this job as an Illinois State Trooper. And I got accepted, and in less than a month, I was at the State Police Training Academy in Springfield. And I spent the next 28 years as an Illinois State Trooper.
How did service change you?
It changed me. It made more of a man out of me. That I went in as a boy, and I feel like I came out as an adult.
Did you continue any friendships after service? For how long? Did you continue any friendships after service?
Oh, yes, yeah. I got out in 1957, and I still have some of those friendships. They're scattered all over the United States, but they're still friends.
How did service affect the way you relate to others?
In relation to others, it was very, very effective for me, because it taught me how to meet other people, how to get along with other people. Again, I'd have to say it takes a young boy and makes a young man out of him.
Did you join a veteran organization?
No, just I was in the Naval Reserves for a while, but I no longer belong to any active organization.
Do you attend reunions? Do you attend any reunions?
Reunion? Yes, twice a year, we have a retiree, state police retirees. We have it in the spring of the year and in the fall of the year. And we have just a little get together here in Harrisburg, and enjoy visiting with those guys that we haven't worked together for years, but we worked together for a lot of years prior to that.
Okay, so now we're going to be doing the final part together.
Okay.
All right, so how did your military service experience affect your life?
Again, I think it made a man out of me. You learn to meet a lot of strange people, to get along with them. It just makes a man out of you, really.
Oh, what are some life lessons you learned from your military service? What are some life lessons you learned? What are some life lessons you learned from your military service?
I learned a lot, and still learning today. Did that answer your question? Okay.
All right. How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and military in general?
I like the military, but I don't like war. I never had to fight the war, but what I see on TV today, war, I do a lot of reading, like the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and all the little incursions we've had. And a great man once said, war is hell, and that's exactly very well put. Very well put.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who will view or hear this interview?
Well, you people right here, and this young man over here, I'd just like to say, learn to get along with people. You have to learn that you can't always have your way. Sometimes you have to go the other guy's way, but in the long run, I think you come out well ahead.
Thank you for taking the time to share your recollections of your military service. Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
No, I think we pretty well covered it, but I just want to thank you people for the opportunity to share what I've shared with you here today. And I speak from my heart when I'm talking to you.
Is there anything you've always wanted to share about your service or veteran experience that you never have?
No, I've been very open and freely shared with my experiences with anybody. Yeah.
What would you like people to know or remember from your story?
What I've told you girls here today. Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should talk about that we haven't covered?
I have had a very experienced life, even after I got out of the military. I told you that I spent 28 years as an Illinois State Trooper. I had the opportunity to serve 4 years in the state legislature in Springfield. I served on the county board here, I think about 10 years. And a lot of that is made easier for me to share and again learn how to get along with people.
Okay, so can you tell us about your veterans flight experience?
Yes, I'm proudly to tell you about that. October the 17th of last year, they have what they call an honor flight for veterans from the World War. Not many World War veterans left today. World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and I applied for that, was accepted, and on the 17th of October last year, we met. There were 62 of us. Met in Marion at the airport over there, and we flew from there to Washington, D.C. It was a long day, but it was so rewarding though that day to be with all that many veterans. And I think the greatest part of that day for me was each veteran. There were 62 veterans, and there were 62. Forget what they call them, guardians. But I chose my oldest grandson as my guardian, and just beginning to spend the day with him was a thrill that it's hard to explain. But we got back in Marion that night. There was a tremendous crowd of people, fire trucks, police cars, and you felt like you were coming home from war with the people there to greet you coming back. But it was a tremendous, and just within the last 2 weeks, there's been another honor flight from Marion the same way. Yeah.
Where all did you visit in D.C.?
Well, I brought it with me, but I left it in my car. I've got a big picture album, and all of our visiting was done at the seeing all the war monuments there in Washington, and it just a tremendous experience. I had been there before, but I had never seen there's a couple of the monuments I hadn't seen, but I got to see them that day. And one of the men that I served with when I was a state representative in Springfield, he is now a U.S. congressman, and I ran into him out there. He didn't know I was coming, and I didn't know he was going to be there. But so I got to share a little bit of time with him, and it is just a heart-pounding experience. It was.
We want to extend a sincere thank you for coming in to talk with us today.
I appreciate that, and I thank you for inviting me. Yeah.